Hi, everybody. It's Kelly Russell, the Rock Your Joy Coach. Thank you so much for being with me today. Welcome to my channel. My topic this week is laughter, and specifically the importance of laughing at this world and the dream. And so it's regarding A Course in Miracles, the tiny mad idea. What is it, and what can we do about it? And so the chapter that I'm working from today is chapter 27 in the Course in Miracles, Healing from the Dream. It's part 8, the hero of the dream. And specifically, I'm talking about the entire chapter, and I'll be specifically saying something from paragraph number 5. But it's a great chapter for anyone who has a lot of confusion or struggles with the concept in A Course in Miracles about this world being a dream, which is, it's like one of pretty much the central teaching of A Course in Miracles is that this world that seems so real to us is a dream, and that we're making it up in our minds, and that we are outside of time and space, that's the reality, and that the world is a mass hallucination. It's made up by the ego, and it's an illusion. So I know that that's a tough concept to get our head around, and yet we have to get our head around it if we're going to be Course in Miracles students. That's the central teaching that we need to get and we need to learn, because otherwise everything else in the Course in Miracles philosophy falls apart if we don't get that this world is not real, and if we don't put that into practice and actually use the tools that the Course in Miracles gives us to undo the idea of this world being real, undo the ego, and really awaken to the truth of who we are and get ourselves back to the home that we never left. None of that is going to happen if we don't do the work of undoing the ego and remembering the truth. And so what I love about this part of the Course in Miracles is it's talking about the tiny mad idea. Into eternity where all is one, there crept a tiny mad idea at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. So right there in A Course in Miracles, Jesus is teaching us that the most important thing that we could have done, and continues to teach, that the most critical thing we can still do, is to laugh at the idea that we could ever, in any world or any universe or any concept that we could imagine, ever be separate from the Father, separate from our Creator. That we are extensions of the love of God. There is no way that you can separate yourself when you're an extension of the love of God. It is ridiculous. It is absurd, and it is fucking hilarious. So if we could just look at the world like that and say, that's so funny. Oh my God, I can't even believe that could ever happen. How could we ever think that? Ha 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 ha. And then just done. end of movie, end of story. We would have been great. We could just go back to the eternal bliss and love and peace and joy that is the truth of us in the home that we never left. It's like we fell asleep and we're just dreaming this dream that, the dream is sometimes lovely and fun and exciting, and sometimes it's a nightmare and tragic and terrible and painful. And that's because this world it's a dream of duality. Whereas the truth of us is that we live outside of time and space as one being, changeless and timeless. And if that sounds boring to you, that's because in this world, we depend on change and time to keep this world a distraction and keep it as fun and exciting as it is. But that's because we need the distraction, and we need to try to make it fun, because it actually isn't. And in truth, the world we never left it's eternal, and it is always Well, the way that I've heard it described by ascended masters who would know is like the peak of a perfect orgasm. Okay, I'm in. I'm all about it. Let's do that. Let's have that be the reality. And I am perfectly willing to do what I need to do to wake up in order to live in one big long eternal oh, thank you very much. Yes, please. So, in order for us to do that, what the Course in Miracles is telling us, we just need to remember to not take this world seriously, to remember that we're not only is it a dream, but it's a dream that is over and we are watching the replay. That's what it teaches us in A Course in Miracles, is that we had this tiny man idea, and because we are have the creativity of God, because we are an extension of God and possess all of the qualities that God is, we were able to, in our mind, in one micro nanosecond, we were able to make up this world, and the whole concept of it and everything in it. The Big Bang, it was the result of that, from our crazy little idea that we chose not to laugh at and instead made it serious and made it real. And then the whole evolutionary story after that is what happened. And it appeared to happen. I shouldn't say it's what happened, it's what happened in the dream. And so for us to be able to wake up and say, yeah, I don't want to take this seriously. So I'm just going to, what I do every day in my prayer and meditation practice, one of the things that I do is I literally say, I'm asking to be in a consciousness of joy and take nothing seriously except that which you, Spirit, would have me take seriously, and see the humor in everything else. And then I spend as much of my day as possible trying to see the humor in everything. And whether I'm living my life and doing it just in my day-to-day activities and thoughts and whatever else, or whether I am working with clients in my coaching practice or my psychotherapy. And, we laugh a lot of the time. I think it's incredibly important to try and see the humor in things and reframe our underlying beliefs about things, and which is causing us to make meaning out of everything in our life and things that other people do and what happened to us in our childhoods, and like what politicians are doing or what is happening in the world or whatever it is. It's all stuff that we're making meaning of, and we're taking it all so seriously, and all it's doing is making us freaking miserable. And so being able to look at things from a different perspective, and with looking at things through the eyes of spirit, and seeing this world as something that we don't have to take seriously. We can find the humor in it. We can reframe it. We can see it differently. It just changes our whole entire experience. So that's what I see the Course in Miracles as training our minds to be able to do. And that's what I see my purpose in it to be, is helping people to be able to do that. And so how do we do that? Well, being able to look at it as a movie where we're just watching the replay, seeing the movie as a comedy as opposed to a drama or a tragedy, and changing our perception from fear to love in the movie itself, using the practice. Well, Course in Miracles teaches us the practice of true forgiveness, which is essentially, I forgive you, or I forgive this experience, or whatever it is, because I remember there's nothing to forgive. I remember that I am dreaming an illusion that the ego mind made up. I forgive myself for dreaming it. I ask Spirit to help me see this differently, and I release it. And that is the practice. And the more that you do that, the lighter you will be. Not only the closer to enlightenment will you be, but you'll just see the world in a lighter way. I think I laugh more than I ever did as a child. And being able to perceive things with love that's one of the ways to be able to shift the perception, is just looking at things with humor instead of looking, because fear, we don't look at things, when we look through the eyes of fear, things aren't humorous, they're not funny, we can't see the absurdity or the ridiculousness in it. All we see is fear, and it feels very intense, and we take it all very seriously, and then we have to think about all the different things that we could do to get away from it, to defend ourselves, to attack our brothers so that we can protect ourselves. And all it does is lead to misery. So I love this part in this chapter, where it talks about, in chapter 27, the healing of the dream, paragraph 5 in part 8. And it says, no one believes there was really a time when he knew nothing of a body and could never have conceived of this world as real. He would have seen at once that these ideas are one illusion, too ridiculous for anything but to be laughed away. How serious they now appear to be. And no one can remember when they would have been met with laughter and with disbelief. We can remember this if we but look directly at their cause, and we will see the grounds for laughter and not a cause for fear. So looking at their cause, what does that mean? It means that the cause is in our minds. And yet what the body would teach us, and this chapter goes into specifics about the body being the central figure in the dream. And it's a great chapter to read, just how it talks about how we see the body and what the body does as it goes about its day, believing that it is at the effect instead of our mind being at the cause, right? So we are the cause of the dream, meaning we are the dreamer of the dream. So all we have to do is wake up, which is awesome, because if we were truly at the effect of the dream as the ego mind would have us believe, and that we are just the victim of everything that happens to us, then we don't have any power in changing that. We're just dependent on everybody else and how the world acts and what happens in the world and what happens with other bodies and the decisions that they make and how they treat us and what happens with the natural world and the disasters and wars and, whatever else that happens, pestilence and pandemics and all kinds of crazy stuff, instead of we could just wake up. Well, that seems a lot easier, doesn't it? I think it does. So what does waking up involve? It involves practicing forgiveness around the dream, because every time we practice forgiveness, we undo a layer of the ego mind, which is that part of our mind that is believing that this world is real and that this world is what the truth is of us. And so the more that we do that the lighter we get, the more able we are to see the world as it really is, to see the truth of our brothers, to see each other's innocence and our own reflected in them. And we're just going to literally have a happier dream, being able to do this on our way to waking up. So that's my topic for today. If you liked what you heard, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I talk every week. I'm here talking about some concept of A Course in Miracles and the way to apply it to our world in a practical way. And doing that just makes your life better. It certainly made my life easier. I laugh so much and see the humor in things. And I think it definitely, rocking my joy is what I do every day. It's the name of my business. It's what I want to help people do. And if you would like to experience rocking your joy, you might consider scheduling a discovery call with me, which is about an hour-long call in which we talk about some aspect of your life that you're not experiencing rocking joy in, and how we might be able to shift your perception there and from fear to love. So you can experience how I work in that way. You can also visit my website at rockyourjoy.com. You can click the link below to schedule a discovery call. And also, there are a couple of free gifts over there on my website that may also help you in being able to just not take things so seriously and to lighten up. So, thanks again for joining me. I'll see you next week. I love you. Mwah.